Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6 with another Autocross car build. We have got another Holden for you today. This is the Holden Monaro that came with the latest DLC pack. I'm pretty rather glad to see Holdens coming to Forza 6. So yeah, we have another one to play around with. Now, both the Commodore and the Tirana went relatively fast around the Autocross. So this Monaro has got he's got quite a bit to live up to. Now, as far as the building goes, well, the car is going to A-Class. Of course, we're going to want as much in the way of handling parts as I can get on it. Tyres, I would expect to be fairly decent. 245s on the front, perhaps not as big as you might have expected from this car. Are we going to... There we go, we are going to equip the tyres, and we're going to... Only 285s on the rear. They're smaller than your kind of normal muscle car tyres. However, we are only going to be A-Class, so we're unlikely to have too ridiculous amount of power. It should be okay. I mean, I'd always like bigger and bigger tyres, but it should be alright for what we are going to be doing. I'm hoping the car is going to be quite nice and light. It's currently sitting around 3,100 pounds. We'll have to see what we can do when we come to the weight reduction. Now, I'm not going to touch the engine just yet. I'm going to put all of the handling parts in first, see what PI we have left. Probably be running with the standard engine in this vehicle, unless any other ones are much lighter, which I don't think they will be. God, we want the race anti-roll bars. There we go. That was the English sentence that I was looking for in all of that. We're going to want a roll cage as well. So up to £3,200. We could well see this down to about maybe 2.5, 2,600 ish with the weight reduction. Okay, 2,700. It's going to be on the heavier side of things when it comes to the cars that have gone around this course, but I'm hoping it'll make up for some of it at least with some pretty decent power figures. Right, engine-wise, the options that we have got: the 5.7 litre V8. It is slightly lighter but less torque. The 7 litre Hemi that is heavier but with more power and more torque. Or the NASCAR. We can't use the NASCAR engine as much as I'd like to. It's way too higher PI for this. I think we might just stick with the standard engine, to be honest. There's not a huge amount of difference between them two, so I think we're going to stick with the standard engine. What I might do is, so we got the choices of a supercharger or turbocharger for the Holden. I think we're going to go for a supercharger. I'm intending to keep the cars naturally aspirated. It does make the car a little bit heavier, but I think we can get some very decent power out of this, judging by the fact we're already halfway through B-Class at the moment. Yeah, I've been tending to keep cars naturally aspirated, but I think we will go with a supercharger. We'll also go through and fit these parts now: gearbox and the clutch we're going to want, and we're going to want the differential. This may be one of the more powerful cars that I've had, excluding the really silly stuff like the limo that had about 800 horsepower or something crazy like that. This may be one of the more powerful vehicles to have gone around. Right, exhaust will take some of the weight off. Supercharger will as well, up to almost 500 foot-pounds of torque. There is a huge amount of torque in the Monaro, which is certainly a nice thing to have. We're at almost 400 horsepower as well. So yes, it is going to... Jesus, this is going to have so much torque. This is going to be an impressive car by the time I'm done with this one. It may not be the most powerful, but it may be the torquiest of the cars that have gone around. I mean, 425 is pretty good going on the horsepower front. We're almost 600 foot-pounds of torque. I don't think many of the cars will have had that much. Yes, it is a heavier vehicle, this one, sure, but that is an awful lot of torque in this one. What is it up to now? 602. Okay, we are going to have to go for the camshafts on here as well. I think we're going to have probably a little bit of a rejig with some of these parts. I don't really want to go for the intercooler and the oil and cooling thing over here because they add quite a lot of weight between them. So what we're likely to have to do is go for that camshaft, and then it's going to be a case of find the ones that will drop the PI. Actually, that'll work. If we go that there, and then it'll give us... Can't remember if I put driveline on or not. I don't think I did. I think I left that off, so we can... There we go. We can find one PI with that. 536 horsepower and 602 foot-pounds of torque in the Holden Monaro. It's powerful. It's a little bit heavier than some cars. 2,600 pounds though isn't too bad. If this has got good control, if we've got good grip in the Holden, we could see it go very, very quickly. So it is here to the Hockenheim circuit, where the Holden is going to get 3 runs through the Autocross course. Our current fastest time is a 2:05.6, set by a Volkswagen Beetle, a time that is proving to be very, very tough to beat. The Holden might stand a chance. I'm not sure. I don't think we're quite going to have the grip, perhaps, in this car. I don't think we'll be able to change direction quite well enough. While, you know, the tyres are decent and we've got decent figures in this car, I think it is still a too larger a vehicle to change direction well enough through these gates to really challenge the Beetle. But we certainly could see this car go rather quickly around the course, provided that is, it's nice and controllable. I am hoping to have a nice, controllable Holden. I would perhaps like some slightly bigger tyres when we've got this much power and torque in a rather large muscle car, but it doesn't feel too bad, certainly, through that first gate. How do we fare under braking? Actually get stopped pretty well. Also, it may not quite be as fast accelerating as the likes of the Opel Kadett. It is a fair bit heavier than that. It's still pretty good though down here. Do we have some understeer? Perhaps a little bit through that part, as we now have to get it slowed down for this tighter and twistier section. I'm liking the car. I'm liking the car. I thought it may be a little bit more leery, possibly. Oh, I might have turned in. Yeah, that was my bad. Turned in too soon on that guy. I realised I was doing it, and there's nothing that I could do to stop myself either at the point where it was already too late. So by the time I figured out I'd messed up. Are we flat through here? No, we've got some understeer. We have got some understeer from the Holden at the higher speed stuff. As I feared, the overall grip is, yeah, perhaps not quite there with the Monaro. We're going to drift a little bit too wide through that part as well. Traction is not bad. We're not spinning the wheels up too much. I mean, it is relatively easy to spin the wheels up in this car if you're a bit too much of a moron, but certainly very, very manageable. It just changes direction through there quite nicely. Are we going to be flat out through this change of direction here? I suspect we can be without too many issues. How late dare we leave it on the brakes? I'm quite liking the braking performance in this car. It does seem to get stopped relatively well as we run up now towards the hairpin. It's the understeer, I think, is the thing I'm going to have to be quite mindful of. The front end does not really want to get turned in to some of these corners, and definitely can't be flat out on the way up here, and we'll have to be a little bit on the cautious side running through these twistier gates towards the end of the run. Yeah, I mean, the acceleration and so on does seem pretty decent in this car, as you would expect. Oh, that was silly. That was very, very close. I didn't even see the barrel move in the rear view mirror. We're going to cross the line. I think it was 3 gates clipped in that one. Not the greatest of starts for the Holden, but yeah, we need to do better on the next run. Right, for the second attempt with the Holden, got to try and deal with that understeer a little bit better. Got to be a little bit more careful, especially at the higher speed gates, because the front end just isn't quite going to get turned in, which is perhaps not too surprising. I mean, certainly sort of around here, it's not too bad. I wouldn't say there's any major issues, but it's something that we're going to have to be very, very aware of come the higher speed stuff, such as this next one. Such a horrible gate that we have to navigate here. It's a really tough one to judge, and that was where we got through it, but I think I'd be better off going into the gate slower. The front just doesn't want to get turned for that high-speed stuff, and I had a wheel on the grass. That's not going to go too well. That's not a fun place to be. We're all sorts of sideways. Okay, got it back under control again. Damn it, rear wheel just touched the grass. I was coming under braking and started losing the back end, and once it started, that was it. It was off. Definitely, I think the brake slightly earlier with this car is going to be the way to get it around here quicker. We want to be slow in the gates and then focus getting out the other side, because I don't have that turning grip. We've seen this with a few cars now. The slightly more crazy of the vehicles that just don't quite have the ultimate grip. You actually want to be braking more, be a lot slower into the corners, so you can make the most of the acceleration out the other side, because you just can't carry the corner speed through here. I mean, that first high-speed gate, the Beetle was at about 114-ish miles an hour through there. This was barely doing 100. It just can't carry the corner speed. It doesn't have the grip. It'll get out the other side, and once you have got it straightened up, yes, the acceleration is great. But yeah, trying to find that fine line with this. It's a little bit more. Oh, we got a little bit of understeer again coming through there. This is a more understeery car than I was perhaps expecting from the. Oh, well, we're gonna. There is quite a lot of understeer from this Holden. If anything, I was thinking we were going to have more in the way of oversteer. We're going to be fighting it, wanting to slide around quite a lot more, but that is definitely not the case. Not the case whatsoever in the Monaro. Get turned in, please, for these final few gates. Yeah, this run has not exactly gone to plan either. We're going to cross the line. Yeah, that was quite poor, but even with the time penalties, I mean, it's 20 seconds on that one. This is not looking like the fastest of cars, unfortunately. So, on to the final run for the Holden. Got plenty of time to try and find around this track. Got to find ways of dealing with the understeer a little bit better, and certainly let's not put any wheels on the grass. It's never a good thing to have happen. Right, I mean, the traction, considering I was putting it in first gear out of there, the traction is pretty good. I feared we could have issues with that, but on the whole, I can boot it in first, and it spins the wheels a little bit, but it's pretty damn controllable. It's just the lack of grip. Like through here, I just can't get the car turned. It just doesn't want to get through that gate at any sort of speed. It's so much slower than a lot of the other cars have gone through there. I mean, that was barely above 100 through that gate, and that was with the back end wiggling around all over the place. It just doesn't quite get turned in to the corners. We're okay through there. That's actually a pretty decent run through that part of the turn again, though we're going to have a little lift to get it through here. Straight line speed is not particularly impressive, actually, down there. That's probably why the brakes don't feel too bad, because we're just not going as fast as the likes of, let's say, the Cadet that went out last time. This was a good, what was it, about 8 miles an hour slower down there than the Opel Cadet. I know that's only 8 miles an hour, but it is only a very small part of the track, small straight. So yeah, I think the poor Monaro does not have the grip or particularly that much acceleration. Struggling with this car a little bit to try and find some time anywhere. We can try and find some time for the Monaro. I would love to see the Holden do well, but I think it's just not quite suited to this kind of thing. Oh, please get stopped, please get stopped, please get stopped. Oh, that was very, very, very close on that one. Oh, God, I'm surprised the wing mirror didn't take out the barrel down there. Careful now as we change direction up towards these final few gates. I'm again having some issues with the brakes locking up slightly around the lap. The front end really not wanting to turn in to these gates, and now the back end is starting to want to come around. It's a run towards the line with the Holden, but it's not quick. It's not quick at all, really, from this car. It's, yeah, we have some handling issues with the Holden. It doesn't have as much acceleration. Honestly, with this much power and torque, I really thought this would be a phenomenally fast accelerating car. But the Cadet that went out last time was far quicker than this, and most of the cars that have been quicker accelerating than the Holden. It just doesn't really get going, which surprises me. It's not what I was expecting from this vehicle. And then we have the lack of grip, the front end not wanting to get turned. I mean, you saw how much it was kind of wiggling, the rear end was dancing around through those final couple of gates as I was fighting to try and get it under control. It's just not the grip in the Holden whatsoever. So the time, what was it, 2:11.2 will it'll put it quite a way down the order. It goes into 23rd place. It manages to beat the Civic Type R, the Mercedes race car, the Rolls-Royce Wraith, but it is slower than the Volvo, the Tesla. The front-wheel drive Cooper Works Mini was quicker than this Holden. It's it's a strange one. This is just, I don't know why. I was expecting it to be a lot faster. It is a bit heavier than some of the cars that have gone around here. Certainly, I mean, most of the fast vehicles are under £2,000. Having said that, the Commodore that's in 11th was, I think, perhaps even heavier than this Monaro. Far less power as well in that, but that was really good through the corners. There's just not the handling in it. Perhaps a little bit on the heavier side, and the power wasn't enough to save it. Yeah, difficult car to get through the autocross course. I'm a little bit disappointed, in all honesty. I was hoping it would do well, but sadly, that is not the case. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.